Hi, I'm Sarah.
And I'm David. Let's talk about The Amazing Race 37, Episode 3. We're in Japan still.
Yeah, we are. But first, if you're new to this channel, please click subscribe and give this video a thumbs up.
And you can support us on Patreon at patreon.com/nerdtainment.
We're going to take a bullet train.
A bullet train. Several bullet trains. I was actually thinking, I was just glancing at your notes as you were hitting go live and seeing that you recorded the departure times of all the trains. And I was wondering as I was watching, I could have paid attention and logged it myself, but I was like, I wonder how often the bullet train goes.
Right? It seems like it had some quick intervals. But yeah, I wrote down when people left to see if it was going to be, you know, a long stretch or whatever. Our first team leaves at 8:31. Our last team left at 10:34.
So there's
like
a couple
ripping
hour
the
difference.
First clip.
Yeah.
But then
they have to get to the train station and get their tickets and etc.
Right. So it took Jonathan and Anna an hour to get to a train because their first train leaves at 9:33, and Scott and Lori are going to be on that with them. Yes,
they're the first two teams on the bullet train, and then quickly after them, I don't think it was a huge wait for the second train, but it was the gamers, Jack and Carson and Alyssa and Josiah are on the second train.
Yes, that leaves at 9:48. So not much of a difference at all. And Josiah was like, I think he said sake, let's do some sake shots. And I was like, Josiah, I'm tracking. That's the second booze reference you've made.
Really?
We might be besties.
Well, what was the first one?
He said they go to karaoke where they serve anywhere that serves Yingling, that beer.
Oh, okay.
Which I don't really drink beer, but whatever. The fact that we are on episode 3 and I've heard Josiah talk about drinking twice.
Imagine when they get to like a distillery or some sort of alcohol processing challenge, barreling whiskey. He's going to be in heaven.
My kind of
honestly, Josiah is, not to derail, but he's having the time of his life. He is loving every moment of this race. He loved the sumo thing. This episode, he gets to be a ninja. It's like, he's loving it. And I really enjoy his energy a lot.
I do too. I mean, I like anyone who is enjoying the race. That's the whole point of it.
Exactly. But once we get to Kyoto, which is where we're going, they have to go in this like sort of garden thing where it seems like they can't run. They have to speed walk to buy an omikuji or something like that. And it's like a hidden message that they dip in water. And then the smart ones among them write down the message on the paper. And not everybody thinks to do that.
Which we don't even see right away.
No.
It's not till later that they're like,
it dries out.
Or like, look, they're writing it down.
It dries out and it becomes invisible. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we do see Han and Holden are on the very last train.
Yes.
Right? I didn't write down all of the...
It didn't tell us that time, or at least I missed it if they did. But the train right before them was at 10:30. So we have an hour between the first train and the fifth.
Yeah.
And then Han and Holden are on that last train.
Yeah. And it looks like some of the trains are just 9 minutes apart. Some of them are a half hour, although maybe they come like every 9 minutes and there were just some trains that left in between. It seems like it's a very frequent thing.
I will say that Pops and Jeff, they do well because Pops was like, hey, person in front of line, let's do a swap-a-roo.
Just ask the question. You never know.
And look, he's a cute little man,
Of course.
You're like, I would love to help you out.
Yeah. And he's like, we're racing for $1 million.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean. I feel like there's a rule that they can't say they're on Amazing Race. Probably some non-disclosure thing.
There is.
But they're like, you know,
there's a
show for $1 million where people run around the world.
Is your eyeball gonna fall out?
Yeah, like I'm winking so hard, you know exactly what I'm doing.
There's literally a camera right here.
Right there, and a producer.
You cannot miss the person with the camera.
No.
And you're like, hey guys, we're racing. And they're like, I see something going on. I'm gonna help you.
Yes.
So that works out well for them. I will say the nurses were just kind of circling right now and looking for the ticket counter.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway.
It's a different pace.
Yeah.
Once they go to the shrine, right, which is where the secret mystery ink clue is leading them, they have to do Kamari, I believe it was called, but it's like basically soccer.
Yeah. You got to pass the soccer ball 5 times, was it? Yeah, 5 times. Now there's an express pass involved.
So if both people complete the roadblock, you win the express pass.
But you don't have to do it that way,
No.
obviously. One person can do it. That's the roadblock. Get the heck out of there. So, of course, Jonathan and Anna are there, and they want that express pass.
Jonathan is an athletic guy, and he very quickly gets the 5 kicks. Anna does not. And Jonathan cannot hide his face.
He cannot.
It's
he
a lot of
cannot pretend. Yeah. I mean, look, she's struggling. It's fair. But he's so stressed out about it. He has to leave. He cannot even pretend and be like, come on.
He's like cringing at points. And he's like, do you just want to go? Like, he's almost like, should you give up?
Yeah.
Like, I think there are other teams here now. And like, maybe one of them is going to win the express pass.
But she's like, no. She's like, first off, I don't need you and you're cringing. I don't care. Oh. And then she was like, I'm going to get this. And she keeps power. She's like, I would just give me a minute. Give me a minute.
And to be fair, she is flailing quite a bit.
Sure. But I would be. She's just a regular person.
100%. And he's just not giving supportive. You know?
Yeah, no.
And I think as someone who is like competitive and athletic, you must know that a lot of times this is just mental. And so if you can pump your partner up of like, you got this, don't give up, like positive energy goes a long way. But
I don't think Jonathan.
It's not his strength.
No. Jonathan is like, she should be as good as me.
Yeah. Why is she not as good as me?
And I can't handle it when she's not as good as me.
Yeah.
But Jack and Carson are going to be there trying as well.
They now have moved in front of Scott and Lori, by the way. Scott and Lori were on that first bullet train, but they are third to arrive.
Yes. Jack and Carson are kicking. Jonathan was able to do it, so Carson is trying, but we kind of
was able to do it, so Carson is trying.
Do I not know who these people are? Oh, I have Jonathan
instead of Jack.
Yeah, no, because my notes. So Jonathan did it, and Anna's doing it. Then Carson did it, so Jack is doing it. Sorry, I said that wrong.
But
Scott and Lori show up,
and Lori's like, you know what, Scott, you did that. Let's go.
You did do that.
He's like, do you want to try? Nope. Let's get out of here.
Love that for her. He's like, no, thank you. And also, let's play some mind games because as soon as they left, the other two teams are like, we lost our lead.
Jonathan immediately was like,
let's go.
Spiraling. Yeah. Because Scott and Lori left in front of him.
And Anna's like, no. I almost have this. And she is correct. She is going to get it shortly thereafter. And they are able to get out second, which of course, then Jack and Carson are like, no point in keep going.
No.
Let's go.
Yeah, let's go. Josiah is also incredibly fast. Like, it's kind of interesting how, like, well, there's some teams where both people are really good and, like, pick it up really quickly. But Josiah, boom, 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 he's done with the soccer thing.
Even though Alyssa is a D1 soccer player, which I love that she mentioned that because that's impressive.
Yeah.
But she's not going to do this, but it doesn't matter. Josiah's great.
Yep. He did it really well.
In and out fourth.
Yes. And now
Then we see Pops.
Oh, right. Because Pops kind of fell.
Yeah.
But he was not giving up.
Not going to give up.
And he's out fifth.
Yes.
So all those teams are sort of at the front of the pack. We're going to now go to the detour. And it's fold it or fling it. And fold it is the giant origami crane. Fling it is the Ninja Star situation with the blow darts and the pencils that they're supposed to throw at the thing. A lot of people think fling it is going to be easy and fast. And they're mistaken.
Well, I also think they thought it was going to be fun. And I agree.
Ninja Stars would be fun.
So fun.
I think the blow darts are fun.
Fun.
It's those dang pencil things.
No, that's just a dart. I feel like that'd be the easiest.
Well, thank you for bringing that up. Because it sounded like they had to throw it in a specific traditional way.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, hold it like a dart and throw it like a dart. That's what it is. Right. But they have to, like, it seems like there's some technique where they have to, like, throw it like this with, like, the wrist straight out. And I don't know. There was some moment, I don't know if you caught this or remember it, but they were like, oh, you have to throw it this specific way.
I thought they were just figuring it out.
Oh, I'm like, it seems insanely obvious to hold it like that and throw it like a dart.
Well, because I think it's Jack and Carson. Are they the first ones to go to it? And they were like so excited.
Yeah.
And I was like, does no one play darts? It's not till Josiah and Alyssa are like, we play darts.
Yeah.
We've got this.
Right.
And I was like, oh, finally. But spoiler, that doesn't matter.
Nobody finishes it.
No, this is horrible.
Scott and Lori do pick Fling It. Then...
And they switch, right?
They switch.
They start the switch.
Yeah.
Jack and Carson up, Jonathan and Anna up, but Jonathan and Anna are like, switch.
Yeah.
Eventually, Jack and Carson switch.
Yeah. Eventually, like in here, we see Han and Holden finally arriving on the bullet train.
Okay.
They're getting the clue with the, wetness and all of this. We see Courtney and Jasmine, who have A, lost their cab, and B, didn't write down the name of the shrine, so that when they were grabbing a bus driver and asking him, can they get there on foot or do they need to take a cab? They can't even ask him the question because they haven't written it down and they have to get it wet again. It's just...
Look, there's a lot of people leaving their cab or keeping their cab. Like the nurses were not the only one. There was definitely a miscommunication on like, should the cab stay or not? Those who kept their cab obviously have the advantage here because all you're doing is running in, get that clue, getting back in your cab.
Yeah.
And now, granted, the nurses are going to leave us this episode, so the edit is definitely going to show us these
all
little
of their
moments.
Mistakes, yeah.
But what instead of like everyone else running with the clue, they are like, well, let's just check. Is this in this location or elsewhere?
Yeah.
So that's point one. Then it's like, okay, let's get a cab. Can't find a cab. Let's ask the bus. Like, it's like, oh.
It's a lot of moseying.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
Yeah. So they're struggling. As you said, Scott and Lori pretty quickly choose to switch to Fold. We see also a moment with Jeff and Pops and Melinda and Erica, which I loved. This like alliance of the parent-child teams.
Love.
And they're like, we're working together. And I'm like, y'all, I want you to go straight to the end of the race with that.
Yes.
Work together till the end and make the finale, both of you, and let's see a parent-child team win this race. But I love that just to see them sort of like bonding over that. And they both actually agree to do Fold It.
Yes.
Together.
Wisely.
Yes.
Wisely, they are going to head to Fold It together. Yeah. So let's just get rid of the roadblock. Melinda's out 6th. Nick or Mike, one of them did it 7th.
Yeah.
Brett is going to do it, get out 8th. We see Kerrigan and Courtney struggling.
Yes. We see Brett like bing, bang, boom. He's got it. And then Kerrigan, she might have the worst eye-foot coordination of the whole group. She literally like sticks her foot out and just waits for the ball to find it. Like she's not seeking the ball with her foot. I'm like, it definitely feels like this was Bernie's dream.
Okay.
And Kerrigan is along for the ride.
Okay. Don't buy into that's like the edit of like Bernie's the competitive one. They said like Bernie did the first 2, right?
Yeah.
And so Kerrigan was like, I have to do one now. And then Kerrigan struggles. It's like, oh no.
Yeah.
Is this really the storyline?
Yeah.
Courtney's obviously going to show up and struggle
a lot.
And
Holden's really good at it.
Holden's like, what am I doing? This is great.
I played soccer. Bye. And his sister's like, what kind of soccer? And he's like, be quiet.
Yeah. Don't worry about it.
I played soccer. Okay.
Whatever it was, it worked.
It worked.
Doesn't matter what it is. He's in and out real quick. And then Kerrigan, of course, is going to eventually get it.
Yep.
Out 10th. And boy, let me tell you, when Courtney finally gets it.
It is like.
I was getting emotional.
Yeah. It is like the flood ended and Noah's Ark has finally landed on solid ground and the rainbow is out and the sun is here again. And it's just,
the whole edit with Courtney struggling and like she had to like take some moments of frustration. And then she's like, I'm not going to quit. I'm back in it.
And Jasmine, in contrast to Jonathan, is like,
thank you.
You got it, girl.
You're going to get this.
Don't give up. Don't give up, girl.
Yeah. And Jasmine said something like, I'm the more athletic one. So Jonathan, you could take a note there. But of course, they also were eliminated, so don't take too many notes.
Yeah.
But then we get this like story about Courtney's mom.
I know.
Lost,
she's in the cab on the way to the detour, and she's like, "This is bringing me back to like pandemic, and my mother had a brain tumor, and I can do hard things." And it's like all of these things are piling up on her in the moment. It's like such a human moment. What at the detour?
Yes.
Jonathan and Anna are switching. they're like in practice.
Yeah.
And they're like, we got to switch.
No.
And then Jack and Carson, I loved their moment of switching because they're like, let's just go try it. And then they like throw one thing and they're like, nope, let's switch.
Nope. Well, because the rule here, let's break it down. The rules are once you go try it, because you're at practice, you have to go 1, 2, 3 without missing.
So he misses one and he's like, there's no way.
No way.
There's no way.
And I agree. Like, why is that the rule, producers?
Yeah.
There had to have been a little, I'm sure if you were like, you can't just be there all day. That's too easy.
Right.
But there had to have been somewhere in the middle because as you see, this is a fail at the end of this episode. Fail.
Huge fail. Yeah.
Bummer.
So let's see. Where are we now? Nick and Mike, the brothers, are going to do fling, but they're eventually going to switch as well.
Yeah.
Brett and Mark decide to go right to fold, our Vegas performers.
Scott and Lori are able to get out first.
Even after they switch.
Yes.
Yeah.
They still keep their lead. But we should note that Josiah and Alyssa play darts. They do not like to give up.
No, they wanted to keep going, and Josiah was living his, ninja fantasy.
Yeah.
And they stick with it for maybe a little bit longer than they should have. It doesn't really hurt them in the end, but
no, but that's not a good sign. You do need to be willing to switch.
I know. It is a tough thing, though. I was actually like wondering when I would pull the trigger to switch because it does seem like one of those challenges of like, you're just going to get it. It's just going to happen.
One of these times.
And you're going to fail a million times. But one of these times, you're just going to get it. And then you're out. And maybe you're faster than all the people who are like in this heavily detailed origami, life size, giant size, whatever. But
I would have been them. I would have been like, we are going to get this. We are not switching.
Yeah.
I get it.
I feel like I would have tried to hype us up. Like, we can do this.
We can do this.
We can do this.
But they were completely crumbling because no, you cannot do it.
Well, and especially when you see all these other teams switching.
Yeah.
It's like, are we going to be the fools sticking with this thing? Like,
are we going to get eliminated?
Stay in the middle of the pack,
Yeah.
But yeah, Scott and Lori finished the origami pretty quickly, and then they're racing to the pit stop.
Yes.
Jack and Carson also finish, right?
Yeah, they're going to get out second here. Yeah. Jonathan and Anna are able to get out third.
Say it.
I want to talk about Mike and Nick.
Oh, well, Jonathan admitted that Anna was right, and I was like, hallelujah. A little bit of balance here. He's like, you're right. We should have done fold it. You get to choose to tours from now on. And I'm like, I'm going to mark that comment, and I'm gonna fact check that as we go this race. If Anna's choosing,
he does seem way more chill. He seems like he's enjoying the race way more. So I'm wondering.
I do think. I mean, we're teasing him, we're not giving him a hard time, but he has had, I think, like a pretty major attitude adjustment from the first episode. Like that was like
completely
an sort of unnecessary meltdown. You're in the thick of it. Like it could happen to all of us, but like. He really has come around and I think is like savoring it a little bit more. There are just still some moments where it's like, I don't know if I could live with this, but
no, he's
everybody's
super
different.
Competitive.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm glad that first episode was like his like learning curve and he seems way cooler now. But before Mike and Nick switched, they meditated.
And then we got to me, craziest out of nowhere story of assault and getting your jaw wired shut.
That was awful.
I was like, this was such a clunky way into this backstory package.
Well, they were like, oh, Nick's been assaulted.
Yeah.
They just like threw it at us. And I can't imagine having my jaw wired for 3 months.
No.
I would have needed way more than meditation. But
I know.
I love that they found meditation.
Yeah.
I'm a big meditator. I love that. Yeah. So I was so excited to see that. Then they were like, let's still switch.
Yeah. I loved when Han and Holden finally get to the detour and are picking between folded and fling it. And he's like, how's your hand-eye coordination? She's like, not terrible. He's like, we're doing folded.
Yeah. It's like, that's not the answer.
That's not the right answer. I need excellent or we're doing folded.
Not terrible. Okay, got it.
Yeah. So like you say, Alyssa and Josiah have now switched. Courtney has finished the soccer thing. Bernie and Kerrigan are choosing to fling it. And I'm like, yikes.
Yep.
I don't think fling it is going to be good for you.
Not the choice.
And Melinda and Erica are actually out fourth from the folded challenge, which I was kind of shocked by.
Oh, great. Yeah. They helped Pops and Jeff.
Yeah. Brett and Mark actually got out 5th, but Pops and Jeff were at 6th.
Yes.
So that's like middle pack range there.
Courtney and Jasmine are going to show up at some point over here.
They are. They're going to pick fold. And I think they're heartened by the fact that there are other teams there.
100%.
Yeah.
But they are going to struggle, and they have one of the best lines. They are like, in the hospital, somebody be dead by now. Sitting on the floor, just like about to give up. They were like, dang, in the
yeah,
hospital,
people might walk into the ER and see them and second guess. Like, you know what? Actually, I don't know.
I loved that line. That was so hard. They couldn't figure it out. That was so funny.
I also loved how Mike and Nick were having a hard time. And
yes.
One of them was struggling with like even focusing on like the instructions.
Yeah.
He was like distracted by Han and Holden bickering and all of this stuff. But they were like, he doesn't even fold his laundry. He just sends it to a fluff and fold.
Yeah.
And they do it for him. And he's like, well, our mom does it for him.
And he just like goes with it. So obviously I was like, who are you to talk?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Neither one of you fold your laundry. Yeah. And everyone is I mean, the origami was difficult. Like oversized.
Did you see when Brett and Mark were working on it? And Brett was like inside of it and then like barrel rolled out of it. I'm like, this does seem quite complex.
And those cute little kids just like do it from start to finish, and then they just start over and do it again.
Did they have to make?
Yeah. And so you have to like go and look, but you're like, you got to see this one section.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, like people are fighting loudly, like Han and Holden losing their mind.
Yeah.
Nick and Mike are very loudly like frustrated. There's a lot of like noise here.
Meanwhile, Bernie and Kerrigan are still on fling it.
Are they?
And Kerrigan she's flicking it a little more than she's flinging it. You know, she's like got the limp wrist kind of a thing. And Bernie's trying to like, you got to keep your wrist strong. And then they had a great moment. If you remember the sort of tantrum the situation that they had in the airport.
Yeah.
Now calmly, Bernie's like, are you saying we should switch? And Kerrigan's like, yes, I am saying that. Okay, we're going to switch. And they very calmly decide to switch to the other tour.
Great. You learned that. Fantastic.
Yes.
Everyone needs to switch. This was so horrible.
Bernie and Kerrigan actually were quite good at it, I thought. They did not do horribly. And one of them was like, oh, I used to make these things all the time, which we all did. But like, who remembers how to make a paper crane? But they...
And not oversized.
Yeah, not so oversized. Bad. They like somehow, switched the head and the tail with the wings. So they had like a bad check in there. But ultimately it really is Courtney and Jasmine who are just seemingly too far behind.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to see so many people frustrated, stressed, and they're going to start to like go out, leaving. Han and Holden going out 9th, but Courtney and Jasmine don't even look close to figuring out this origami at this point. So that takes us to our pit stop.
Yes. So Scott and Lori on my draft team.
I can't tell you how mad I was on Wednesday when I watched Scott and Lori run up to the mat and Phil say first play.
It's like, I'm so glad I drafted them.
You, sir. This is Han and, wait, what are their names?
What?
Chi and Hong? Han and Chi, who?
Oh, yeah. Han and Chi? I think. Hung and Chi.
Hung and Chi, right?
Yeah.
This is what happened.
Yeah.
David did not draft them.
No.
He acquired them episode 2. What happened with them? This is...
Sarah.
It's all happening again. Scott and Lori.
It's all part of a draft strategy.
Great.
Where you draft the team who's going to go first on purpose, and you watch everybody else underestimate the team that you know is going to do well and get you points, and then you end up with them on your draft team. It's all part of my master plan.
Scott and Lori have been checking in on this, and so I do want to say, good job, you guys.
No,
you guys are great. Good job coming in first place. This guy, of course, I was like, are you kidding me?
Yeah,
Episode 3, they come in first place.
I still don't think I'm going to win this season. I've got like Bernie and Kerrigan and like, I think that, Nick and Mike, who I thought were going to be like top 3 the whole way.
That probably is the top 3 right there. They're all going to figure out their issues, and they're going to soar to the top 3.
Yeah. But I mean, Scott and Lori are defying expectations.
100%.
I can't imagine they were at the top of the odds, of winners this season. And very exciting to get $5,000 in their bank account. Jack and Carson arrive shortly after. They're on the mat together, top 2 teams. And Phil is telling these teams as they arrive about the driver's seat. And
what is the driver's seat, David?
Well, one team is going to get to determine the amount of work every other team has to do in the next leg. I'm still I don't know that I perfectly understand what that means. Like, can they give different teams different levels of work?
That's what it sounded like at first. And I was like, ooh, that's exciting. But I bet it's just like, do you want them to do this one task or do you want them to do these 2 tasks?
Yeah.
I would imagine producer wise.
Yeah.
It's not like they can give them that many options. Right.
But is it like you separate them out into columns of like these teams are going to have to do 1 task and these teams are going to have to do 2 tasks? Or do you decide 1 or 2 tasks for everybody behind you, or what is it?
Yeah, but that's interesting. So the first person to like get up to that spot, whatever that spot,
like it's not going to be Scott and Lori unless they maintain their lead, as they depart.
Might be Scott and Lori,
right?
It's more likely.
But it's not like you guys finish first this leg, so you get the driver's seat power next episode.
Right.
It's just going to be whoever makes it to that board first. So they're 1 and 2. Jonathan and Anna are number 3, and Phil's like, great job. You also have the express pass. And they're like, we're thrilled to be number 3. Even with the express pass, this is very good for us.
Right.
I wonder if they could use the express pass during the driver's seat. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's too early to use that. You need to save that, guys.
100%. Melinda and Erica 4th.
Good job.
Great
ladies.
Placement for them. They jumped up a lot. They were actually surprised.
They've been slowly moving up since the first episode.
Very exciting. Because they were back of the pack, right? Yeah. Brett and Mark, number 5. Your guys.
My guys.
They're also moving up. They were
they were about
second
9th.
to last time, right?
I think they were 9th place.
Okay.
And they moved up.
Now they're up to 5th. They're going to be a star team, I think, for sure. Jeff and Pops, number 6.
Good job, Jeff and Pops. Loving that.
Alyssa and Josiah, even with their struggles at Fling It.
Yeah, they're definitely better than a 7th place team.
Agreed.
But they just were trying so hard to make that Fling It work.
Yeah, I think they're finale material for sure. Nick and Mike, number 8.
I would say the same thing for them. They should be higher than that, but
I don't know. No offense, guys, but I think they might. I think 8th place might be your fate in the race.
Oh my goodness, no.
I mean, show me the receipts of me being wrong so far this season.
They have struggled more than we would think.
Yeah, but the teams can always have a turnaround.
Yes, they will.
Han and Holden, number 9.
And
they turn their fortunes around this leg.
This feels accurate for Han and Holden. I mean, they argue a lot, although they feel like this episode, they got, the communication down.
They did. They're still siblings who will yell at each other.
100%.
But
they're young siblings.
There is a little bit of do you have it? It's less direct to bickering, and there's a little bit of trying to understand each other before they hit the bickering mode, Yeah. Bernie and Kerrigan, number 10.
Yes. You guys need to move up. That's a tough place.
Yeah. And then 11, Courtney and Jasmine. And
Courtney and Jasmine, they are going to show up at the match, just taking it all in.
How sweet are they, though?
They're so lovely.
Your interview with them was so cute.
I loved them. Yeah. I mean, I was very sad to see them go because I really had.
I know.
I mean, I enjoyed it, watching them, even though they didn't have a ton of urgency.
There's just not the cutthroat energy.
Yeah.
They are the opposite of Jonathan.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And Jonathan's finishing 3rd.
Yeah.
And they're finishing 11th. So
I wish they could have lasted longer. But yeah, it was lovely to talk with them. I hope you guys check that out. They were just so cute.
Very
so
sweet. Very, very sweet.
Yeah, and then like you mentioned, the driver's seat.
Next time.
Episode. Can you tell where we are next time? Are we still in
Bali?
Oh, we're going
he said in the jungles of Bali.
Yes. All right.
Yeah.
and a vague driver's seat, whatever the heck that.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what that's like. First of its kind. So that'll be fun to see.
So disappointing with the Ninja Detour.
That challenge is a little too hard. I think if it was just Ninja Stars and Darts, it would have been a different thing. But maybe then too easy, you know?
I think just allow them a mistake or two overall.
Yeah.
Because it's 3, 6, 9 things you have to do. So out of 9, you can miss 2.
Right.
And get a pass. It had to be something like that. It was just too hard.
Yeah.
So that is a production boo fail. But that's all right. Still loving the cast.
Yeah. And at least people tried it. Right? Like, yes. Sometimes you get the side of the detour where nobody goes to that side.
Yeah.
This one, people were like, we're going to try it. So we got to see both in action. And for me, I was like, yeah, I can understand why everybody switched from playing it.
Yeah, absolutely. And congratulations, Scott and Lori.
Yes.
That's amazing to get a first place finish.
I'm not in first place, though, in the draft.
No. Ricky and Cesar are both beating us.
I'm sure they are, those guys. Let's do a quick little point recap and see where we are.
The battle is just between me and David, whether he gets points.
Okay.
With
woof.
So Cesar, even though he just lost Courtney and Jasmine, he's got 20 points.
Who he drafted first, by the way. They were literally the first draft pick this season.
I'm not sure why he picked them first.
Yeah.
But they were cute.
Yeah.
Ricky has 15 points. Then you have 12, and then I have 10.
And I would literally probably have 3 points if I didn't get Scott and Lori.
100% you would have 3 points. That's accurate. But look, I have Pops and Jeff, Brett and Mark, and Melinda and Erica, and I feel good about those 3.
I honestly think you really should. I think they're all going to be. I mean, they already all are point getters.
Yeah.
But they will.
I like my team.
Yeah.
You have a pretty good stack team, though. I think Nick and Mike, Scott and Lori.
I hope they can get it together. They only have 1 point so far. They're my worst team.
That's true. I don't know how they've only gotten 1 point so far.
Yeah.
Y'all need to get some more points.
Yeah.
Even though not for David. Alrighty, you guys. Thank you so much for joining us live here. We appreciate it.
Yes. And if you're joining us later, leave us a comment and let us know how you feel about Courtney and Jasmine being eliminated this episode. What do you think is going to happen with the driver's seat? And which team do you think is next to self-destruct?
Yeah.
Give us some predictions there.
Who's going to do better? And who's going to self-destruct?
Yeah, give us some positive answers.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. We will see you guys next time. Same time, same place.
See you then.
All right, bye.
Bye.